the Hebrew god unleashed a massive tsunami, which crashed directly into Pharaoh's army. Thousands of Egyptian soldiers were completely engulfed by 10-meter-high waves. 3,000 years ago, before every major battle, Pharaoh would sacrifice a goose to divine the outcome of the battle. But this time, the divination did not foretell the impending war. Instead, it pointed to another clue. In this battle, a ruler would be saved by another, and that person would become the new leader. Moses initially believed this to be a lie, but the Egyptian prince Ramses was deeply concerned about this prophecy. The pharaoh ordered Moses to inspect the construction of the pyramids. When Moses first arrived at Pithom, he was shocked by what he saw. 40,000 Hebrew slaves had been serving for a century. While talking to the slaves, when an old man learned that the person before him was Moses, a slave secretly handed Moses a letter. It turned out that Moses was the new leader, and he was actually a Hebrew. At the Egyptian palace, Pharaoh suddenly died, and Ramses became the new pharaoh of Egypt. The pyramid overseer secretly came to the palace and revealed Moses' true identity to Ramses. Thus Moses was exiled to the desert. One day while Moses was tending his flock, a sudden storm swept across the sky, followed by a torrential downpour. A mudslide rushed down, completely burying Moses. A startling voice awakened him. A boy appeared before him, claiming to be eternity itself, saying he needed Moses to save his people. When Moses regained his senses, the boy had vanished, so he bid farewell to his wife and children, and set off for Pithom, where the pyramids stood. To build the pyramids, Hebrew slaves worked day and night, with countless lives lost every moment. The furnaces blazed from dawn to dusk, and from dusk to dawn as well. Moses came among the Hebrew slaves, drawing his weapon to show his resolve. After 400 years of oppression, the Hebrew slaves were ready to revolt. Pharaoh gathered an army of 200,000 to attack the 400,000 slaves. The Hebrew god split the sea with a sword, parting the waters. At that moment, the slaves still saw the endless sea before them, while 10,000 elite soldiers were closing in from behind. The next day, a miraculous scene unfolded. The tide receded, revealing dry land. Moses led the 40,000 Hebrews into the sea. On the other side, Pharaoh ordered tens of thousands of cavalry to pursue them to the shore. At this point, the 40,000 Hebrews were in the middle of the sea. The water in the strait ahead had dried up, and if they crossed, they could return to Canaan. Looking at the 40,000 Hebrew slaves, Ramses ordered 100,000 soldiers to charge. Moses saw the approaching Egyptian army and urged the slaves to speed up. He led this limited fighting force to prepare for a decisive battle with Pharaoh. At that moment, the punishment of the Hebrew god descended. Dark clouds gathered on the distant horizon, swiftly sweeping toward the battlefield. The Hebrews finally reached the strait. 10-meter-high waves surged like beasts, violently crashing into the Egyptian army. Pharaoh bravely charged forward in his chariot. His generals ordered the entire army to retreat, leaving only Pharaoh behind. Seeing the Egyptian army retreat, Moses immediately ordered his men to return to the shore, leaving himself alone to face Ramses in the final showdown. Ramses charged toward Moses. In the next instant, Pharaoh Ramses was completely engulfed by the floodwaters. Moses was also swept away by the flood. All 1,000,000 Egyptian soldiers drowned, and the Hebrews finally escaped the prison that had held them captive for 400 years. Moses survived. He led 40,000 Hebrews toward Canaan.